I'm here at the Bali Arts Festival in downtown Renon. It's a festival or celebration of the Balinese arts that's been going on now since the 1970s, an annual event. And this is the opening ceremony where they're having a big parade that comes right around the centre of Renon and opens the festival officially, which goes for the next month. Also known as the Pesta Kesenian Bali. It's a fantastic opening ceremony down here. And they have events planned for the whole month, from the 15th of June up until mid-July. The events here are happening daily and they're mainly focused around Renon and Denpasar, and therefore not as popular with foreign tourists as it is with locals. But with this sort of stuff on offer, I think it's a highly recommended thing. Probably add to your activity, add to your planning if you're coming to Bali over the next month. So what sort of events are we talking about? Well, we're talking about competitions between different groups around Bali coming together and competing for the top prize in different things like dance or martial arts, or even things like gamelan. Oh, look at these guys, right on top of that. If you love Balinese arts, like most of us do, you really need to make an effort to come down here. And to some of the events, you need to go onto their website. I'll put a link in the description below to show you exactly where these events are located, what sort of events are on. You might need to use Google Translate on some of that stuff because not all the information is in English. Underneath the provincial government of Bali, you have 9 kabupaten. This is the kabupaten of Buleleng. Buleleng covers places like Singaraja and Lovina, the north of Bali. And so all of these kabupaten from all around Bali come into Denpasar to compete in these competitions to showcase their regional variation of art in Bali. The Balinese are lovers of all things mythical, and I love this figure going past here. That's quite beautiful, that music. In the background, you can hear that music going on. That's a typical ice cream sound here in Indonesia. All across Indonesia, the same tone, and it drowns out everything else. On the subject of kabupaten, the main kabupaten that you might be staying in if you're in Bali are Denpasar if you're in Sanur, Badung if you're in sort of Kuta area, and Gianyar if you're in Ubud. Nusa Lembongan and Nusa Penida are part of Klungkung Regency, and then Ahmed, Chandidasa, even up to Kintamani, that's all part of Karangasem Regency. Now, why are they important? Well, it's actually how people identify themselves quite often in Bali. Rather than saying which village they come from, they might often say which kabupaten they're from. So if they say, oh, I'm from Karangasem, you don't really know where it is because it's a massive area. But they'll say Karangasem just as the Regency. Well, I'm down here at the opening of the Arts Festival. I just thought I'd give you a bit of a look around the Lapangan Puputan Renon. Basically the Renon field that commemorates the Puputan, or the ceremonial mass suicide or heroic fight to the death that happened here about a century ago. And this field is quite interesting in itself because it's where a lot of events are held, like this opening. The Car Free Day here is held every Sunday here, which is a fantastic cultural event as well. But daily, from a very early time during the day, people come here to exercise. Now, they're currently resurfacing the path, so it's a little bit, how's your father? But when that thing is paved properly, it's a fantastic place to come and run or walk, maybe have a bit of a snack, meet up with locals. It's mostly a local thing. There are a few foreigners that come down here, but mainly a local thing. Renon in its current form is actually a man-made city or a man-made part of Denpasar. It's where all the Denpasar administrative buildings are. And in the 70s, they came up with a scheme of planning a town. And because of that, you'll find that the roads here are quite wide. You've got these long, wide boulevards lined with trees. The office spaces are massive with big grounds. And it does feel like a bit of a planned city in many ways. But because of that, it's a big contrast to the rest of Bali, which has been sort of expanding haphazardly over the years. Renon is where the immigration office is. If you're staying in Sanur, you'll be going to the immigration office in Renon. A lot of the consulates are here in Renon, and a lot of other government offices. If you have to have any interaction with the government in Indonesia, quite often you'll be coming down to Renon to get help. For example, the health insurance scheme is here in Renon as well. I actually met a guy on Gili Meno a few months back when I went over there with Wayne Fiasco da Gama. And that guy was actually one of the main guys responsible for building this place all those years ago, 50 years ago. He's quite old now, but he runs a little warung over there. And yeah, he has a lot of stories about how this thing was built and what it was like. It was just rice fields back in the day. This event here in Renon sort of got me thinking about the dual tracks of life here in Bali. There's the foreigner track, and then there's the local track. And it's hard to be in both at the same time. Most people, most foreigners here are obviously on the foreigner track, and you're plugged into all things the foreigner is, used to, enjoys, and any events that come up, you might be sort of plugged into the foreigner focused events. And that's me too. That's me too, for sure. Even for Susan, because we live in Sanur, we're often plugged into all that foreigner activity, even though parts of our life we live quite locally. This event is a very local event. I'm not sure if that was the original plan, but certainly this is 99.99999% attended by locals. There are no foreigners here. It's not catering towards foreigners. And finding out about an event like this is quite difficult. You don't actually know about them until it's too late quite often. And these events are happening all the time, everywhere, all the time. Even down in Sanur, there are big events happening quite regularly that we don't know about until they're either on or already over, because they're more of a real local event. And if you're not plugged into those networks, usually on social media, you just don't get to find out about them. And I guess it's a bit of an interesting, sort of way to live, to be honest, to have these two dual tracks of life here. One's totally local, one's totally foreigner, and to try and step into both of those is quite difficult. And that's sort of what we try and do. That's what I'm trying to do with this vlog, is to try and bring one side of life to the other. And it's very, very difficult to do quite often because they are so far apart in so many ways. But that's all part of the challenge, isn't it? And I'm really enjoying bringing some of these more local experiences to your attention, and hopefully in the future I can bring many more of them. I'll keep trying to be plugged in. To be honest, Susan's the one that gets most of the information about this stuff, because she's really trying to plug into that local side of things, which is not easy to do, especially when you're married to a white guy like me. So we keep battling, and hopefully we can bring some more of these events to you in the future. Thanks for coming along for the ride today, and thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button to keep up to date with all things Sanur and the rest of Indonesia. Sampai ketemu lagi.